Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today we will be starting the Madhya-lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the first chapter. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya, Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्तराधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So, Madhya-lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have finished the Adha-lila in the previous session. So, first chapter of the Madhya-lila. Chapter 1, the later pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, as you know, Chaitanya Charitamrita is divided into three parts, three cantos, Adha-lila, Madhya-lila, Anta-lila. And Adha-lila has 17 chapters, Madhya-lila has 25 chapters, and Anta-lila has 20 chapters. Alright, so first chapter, summary. In this chapter, there is a summary description of all the pastimes performed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the middle period of his activities as well as the 6 years at the end of his activities. All of these are described in brief. There is also a description of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy that occurred when he recited the verse beginning Yah Kaumara Haraha, as well as a description of how that ecstasy was explained in the verse beginning Priyah Soyam Krishna by Srila Rupa Goswami. Because he wrote that verse, Srila Rupa Goswami was specifically blessed by the Lord. There is also a description of the many books written by Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, and Srila Jiva Goswami. There is also a description of the meeting between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami, and Srila Sanatana Goswami in the village known as Ramkeli. So, this chapter I think has about 200 over verses, 270 something verses I think. So let's begin. Yasya prasadadagnopi sadyah sarvajñatam vrajet Sashri Chaitanya Devo me Bhagavan samprasidatu. Even a person with no knowledge can immediately acquire all knowledge simply by the benediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, I am praying to the Lord for his causeless mercy upon me. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanandau Sahoditau Gaudau Daye Pushpavantau Chitrau Shandau Tamonudau. This is actually the second verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adha-lila. and it happens to be the second verse of the Madhya-lila as well. You see, Adilila 1.2, you see, same verse. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanandau Sahoditau Gaudau Daye Pushpavantau Chitrau Shandau Tamonudau. This is Gaurnitai Pranati Mantra. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Jayatam suratau pangor mama mandamatergati matsarvasvapadam bhojau radha madana mohanau. This is the Sambandhadideva Pranam Mantra. Radha Madan Mohan. Radha Madan Mohan are the presiding deities for Sambandha Gyan. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madan Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors and their lotus feet are everything to me. So this is also the 15th verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Adilila. दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमाधः श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ प्रेष्ठालीभिः सेव्यमानौ स्मरामि. In a temple of jewels in Vrindavan, underneath a desire tree, Sri Sri Radha Govinda, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances unto them. This is the Abhideyadhideva Pranam Mantra. So Sri Radha Govinda are the Abhideyadhideva. They are the presiding deities of Abhideya, which is devotional service. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. So there are three stages. One is Sambandha, to establish the connection with the Lord. Then the Abhideya means to act in that relationship. Once we have understood that we are eternal servants of Krishna, and that is the rendering of devotional service. And Prayojana means the attainment of the goal of all spiritual activities, which is Krishna Prema. So that is Prayojana. So the next is Prayojanadhideva Pranam Mantra. श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भे वंशी वटतटस्थितः कर्षन् वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथः श्रियेस्तु नः. May Gopinath ji, who attracts all the gopis with the song of his flute and who has begun the most melodious rasa dance on the bank of the Yamuna in Vamshivata, be merciful upon us. जय जय गौरचंद्र जय कृपा सिंधु जय जय शशिसुत जय दीनबंधु. All glories unto Sri Gaurahari, who is an ocean of mercy. All glories unto you, the son of Shachi Devi, for you are the only friend of all fallen souls. Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Srivasadi Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories unto Lord Nityananda and Advaita Prabhu, and all glories unto all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, headed by Srivas Thakur. पूर्वे कहिलु आदि लीलार सूत्रगण जहाँ विस्तारिया छेन दास वृंदावन. I have previously described in Synopsis the Adi-lila, initial pastimes, which have already been fully described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And mind you, although there are 17 chapters of the Adi-lila, the pastimes of the Lord, the initial pastimes of the Lord, start only from the 13th chapter. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Only 5 chapters. The first 12 chapters are epistemology, or the establishment of the evidence of supremacy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his associates. The full description of the situation of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. That is explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And establishing first of all that the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead on the authority of Vedic statements, not simply whimsically. So after such sound foundation in the 12 elaborate chapters, then he goes on to describe the initial pastimes of the Lord, which happen to be only 5 chapters, because the rest, Vrindavan Das Thakur elaborated in very great detail these initial pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and therefore Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami either summarized or mentioned those which have not been mentioned by Vrindavan Das Thakur. অতএব তার আমি সূত্রমাত্র কইলুম যে কিছু বিশেষ সূত্র মধ্যে কহিলুম. I have therefore given only a synopsis of those incidents, and whatever specifics were to be related have already been given in that synopsis. एबे कहि शेष लीलार मुख्य सूत्रगण प्रभुर शेष लीला नाय ना जाय वर्णन. To describe the unlimited pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not possible, but I now wish to relate the chief incidents and give a synopsis of those pastimes occurring at the end. तार मध्ये जय भाग दास वृंदावन चैतन्य मंगले विस्तारी करेला वर्णन সেই ভাগের ইহা সূত্র মাত্র লিখিব তাহা যে বিশেষ কিছু ইহা বিস্তারিব. I shall describe only in synopsis that portion which Vrindavan Das Thakur has described very elaborately in his book Chaitanya Mangal. Whatever incidents are outstanding, however, I shall later elaborate. चैतन्य लीलार व्यास दास वृंदावन तार आज्ञाय करो तार उच्छिष्ट चरवन. So this is very important now. Actually, the authorized compiler of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srila Vrindavan Das, the incarnation of Vyasadeva. Only upon his desire am I trying to chew the remnants of food that he has left. Now, the authorized compiler of the pastime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, is Vrindavan Das Thakur, and he is the incarnation of Vyasadeva. Only upon his orders am I trying to chew the remnants of food that he has left. Now, it's interesting that the teachings or the writings given by the Acharya is considered like the food eaten by them, and then the chewing of the remnants is the food that is left by them. So there is precedence to this, and this is very important now. Okay. Now in the Madhya-lila, if you see this verse 16.60, भक्त पद धूलि आर भक्त पद जल भक्त भुक्त अवशेष तीन महाबल. Especially this one, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha Teen Mahabal. Now here, Bhakta Pada Dhuli means the dust of the lotus feet of a devotee. And Bhakta Pada Jal, the water that washed the feet of a devotee. And Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha, and the remnants of food eaten by a devotee, Teen Mahabal, very powerful substances. So here, the dust of the feet of a devotee, the water that has washed the feet of a devotee, and the remnants of food left by a devotee are 3 very powerful substances. Then what about the instructions of the devotee? Are they not powerful? Here, the instructions are already included in this. The remnants of food left by a devotee. Now, the tongue has 2 functions, eating and speaking. Okay, so eating is considered, intake, and usually speech is the output. But a very unique thing happens when you speak. You also remember, you also input, because your ears are working. It's a loop. You are speaking and your ears are hearing, and you are tasting also. By chanting Krishna's name and by talking about Krishna, there's a taste that we gain. Even, okay, for example, for the materialist, when he speaks about his favorite topic, he's excited. But those cannot be sustained all the time and for a long time. But these topics of Krishna are meaningful and they are most pleasurable, even for the person who is chanting. So the taste, it's like it is compared to many times the taste. Okay, we have the famous verse, right, of Rupa Goswami, Madhya-lila 1.99. You see, Tunde Tandavaniratim Vitanute Tundavali Labdhaye Karnakrodakadambini Ghatayate Karnarbudebhyah Spriham Chetah Prangana Sangini Vijayate Sarvendriyanam Kritim No Jane Janita Kiyadbhiramritaiः Krishneti Varnadvayi. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. So this is a taste. Namagane sada ruchihi. This is the symptom of ecstatic. In fact, before ecstasy, sub-ecstatic, anubhava symptoms. These are. So just imagine in ecstasy how much taste there is. So there is aswadana. That means tasting. Now, when the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of the ear, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. So there is a taste that is there when one is chanting, and it is compared to eating. Krishna Prasadam is one thing, but Krishna's topics are also tasty, and it is tasted by the tongue in a different way. Although it is spoken, it is also a considered intake as well. So it is a very unique thing. Now, this wait. Wait. 1 second. I'll just show you this. I don't know if I will be able to find it. Yeah, this is written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Kabe habe bolo shaydin amar. There he says, Hoy aswadibo nama rasa sar. Sakale manada apani amani hoy aswadibo nama rasa sar. So there is a tasting involved even while speaking. Considering myself lower than a blade of grass, bringing the quality of forbearance into my heart, showing respect to all, myself being freed from all false pride, when will I taste the essence of the liquid nectar of the holy name? So it is considered like almost like an eatable. And also, ahara means not only the eating, but also wealth, anything that is tasted is ahara. So, if you see Bhagavatam, right? Yeah. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखादमृतद्रव संयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः सुखमुखादमृतद्रव संयुतं. Okay, you see this? I'm sorry about that. Sukhamukhad Amrita Drava Samyutam. What is that? Okay, let's read the whole translation. Okay, we will see the word to word here. Sukhamukhad. You see, Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, the fruit of the mature tree of Vedic Kalpataror, of the desired tree of the Vedas, is eaten by the Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukamukhad, from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami, Amrita Drava Samyutam, Amrita Drava, semi solid and soft, and therefore easily swallowable. Samyutam, perfect in all respects. Pibata, why is it mentioned Drava, semi solid and soft? Why is Bhagavatam described as a semi solid, soft thing? When you chew, the food becomes all semi solid and soft, right? So why is Bhagavatam described like that, like a fruit that is become chewed? Because then it is easy to digest. And there is an added taste to it. Samyutam pibata, do relish it. Bhagavatam, rasam, juice, that which is relishable. Alayam, until liberation, or even in a liberated condition. So you see, O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. Okay, this is a mature fruit emanated from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. So, this is also Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha. That means, just now we have seen the three important substances from a devotee is that, three important substances in this world are that the dust of the feet of the devotee, the water that has washed his feet, and the food that is left by him after eating. Uchishta, Avashesha. So it has become even more tasteful. So here Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying that Vrindavan Das Thakur has relished it and left for us, and I am enjoying the remnants of his footsteps. And what is that? 4:20. 25, is it? Yeah. Sa uttama shloka mahanmukhachuto. Okay, remember this. Bhavat padambhoja sudhakana nilaha smritim punarvismrita tattvavartmanam kuyoginam no vitaratyalam varaihi. Mahanmukhachuto. Mahat means great devotees. Mukhachutaha, delivered from the mouths. Again, chutaha means falling. Achyuta means doesn't fall. Chuta, mukhachutaha means coming from the mouth, dropping from the mouth. That means this is called also bhakta bhukta avashesha. Because they have enjoyed it in their minds, in their hearts, they have enjoyed the substance, and now they are giving it out. Or having tasted such nectar, they are now giving it out for others to enjoy. So, Mahan Mukhachuta. My dear Lord, just like food is digested in the stomach, but these topics are digested in the heart and the mind. It becomes purified. The brain, intelligence, everything becomes purified. This is spiritual subject, spiritual food. So, my dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. You see how nicely it is described here. And therefore, see, যে লীলা অমৃত ভিনে খায় যদি অন্ন পানে তবে ভক্তের দুর্বল জীবন যার এক বিন্দু পানে উৎফুল্লিত তনু মনে হাসে গায় করয়ে নর্তনা. Okay, this food is even more powerful, way more powerful than even the food that is taken through the mouth. Okay, Jay Leela Amrita Vinay. Okay, men become strong and stout by eating sufficient grains, but the devotee who simply eats ordinary grains but does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. You see, one who does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna gradually becomes weak and falls down from the transcendental position. However, if one drinks but a drop of nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his body and mind begin to bloom and he begins to laugh, sing, and dance. You see, this becomes weak. Durbala Jivan. Bala means strength. Durbala means weak. And what happens if one becomes weak? What is the meaning of spiritual strength or spiritual weakness? Because we've always heard this word, this phrase, spiritual strength. Oh, Balaram is the giver of spiritual strength. What is spiritual strength? Okay, we can see what is weakness, and then we can see what is strength. And okay, let's finish the purport, because very short and very important purport by Prabhupada. All the devotees connected with the Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep, and fall down from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure. This is what happens. Even if we eat prasadam, if we don't understand Krishna's pastimes, if you don't try to hear his pastimes, listen to his pastimes and his activities, his teachings, anything connected with Krishna, which is called Krishna Katha, then eventually, we will lose the spiritual strength and we will fall down, even though we may eat prasadam. Okay, this is very important. You see, Prabhupada is mentioning here. And what is this durbalam, durbala jivan? That is here stated in the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, third verse, actually. Okay. Klaibyam asmagamah partha naitatvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam jaktvotishta parantapa. Hridaya daurbalyam. Daurbalyam means arising from durbala, arising from weakness of the heart. What is this heart weakness? That means, the heart is heart attack or something? No. This weakness of the heart means not being able to judge things as we should, which will be possible if we have knowledge and if we are practicing in our sadhana, then we will get the spiritual strength. Then we will be able to discern what is right and what is wrong. But Arjuna was not able to do it. One second. Okay, so here, O son of Pritha, Krishna is saying, do not yield to this degrading importance, Klaibyam. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Petty weakness of heart, of course, it appears that he's saying the word he used is importance, Klaibyam. Klibaha means eunuch. Eunuch is an important person, a man who is important, um, who has become, those eunuchs you will see. So Klibaha means that. Klaibyam means importance. So he's saying, "Oh, you are not a man enough to do this. Um, you're running away. You're chickening out from this war. Are you afraid? Why are you behaving like a eunuch, an important man?" And then Daurbalyam, Hridaya Daurbalyam means, oh, you don't have the courage or you don't have. It appears like that. But actually, Krishna's words have very deep spiritual significance as well. Because if this is all connected, if we are not strong in Krishna consciousness, then when life hits us with challenges, we will be the first to jump the ship of Krishna consciousness. We may pass around and people may consider us as great devotees. But in situations where this will be tested, our mettle will be tested. How strong we actually are. And Arjuna was facing such a test. In the 10th offense of the Nam Aparad, 10th offense is to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord and to maintain material attachments despite understanding so many instructions in this matter. Maintaining material attachment. Arjuna was maintaining material attachments. And just don't say Arjuna. Arjuna was just a specimen to teach us. Actually, we are attached to our family members. We are attached to, our social prestige and this and that. We don't surrender to Krishna because we try to keep intact our social position, our family position. We shudder at the thought of surrendering to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was saying, in the later years of his grahastha life, household life, when he was getting these dreams, 3 times he got the dream, where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came and was pulling him by the hair, by the ear, come and take sannyas. He was horrified. How can I leave the family? How can, Prabhupada is showing by example how it is even for great souls. The attachment of family life is so strong. This is Hridaya Daurbalyam, weakness of the heart. We have to surrender to Krishna. So, unless we have strength, we will not be able to do this. We will give in to everything else. We may be even serving, I may be even serving full time in the temple, but I may be attached to something. I may have left my family, I may have left and come here, but here also, there will be things that will make me attached. Maya is so strong. What is that? Karatala bhikshus tarutala vasaha tadapani munchat yasha pasha. Shankaracharya has written in the Bhajagovindam song. Karatala bhikshus. In his hands, he has a begging bowl. He's just begging. That means he's a sannyasi. Tarutala vasaha. Karatala bhikshus tarutala vasaha. He's staying under the tree. So very detached, right? Tadapani munchatyasha pashaha. Even then, the material desires will come to haunt us. Even then. So it is not so easily given up. So this is all Hridaya Daurbalyam. And that is a sign of spiritual weakness. What is spiritual strength then? To be able to catch hold of Krishna's lotus feet tightly. And what is the meaning of catching hold of Krishna's lotus feet tightly? That means whatever happens in my life, I am going to stick to Krishna. And when we say Krishna, we have to be very careful. It is Krishna, Krishna's the spiritual master, the devotees, all this is Krishna. When we say Krishna, this we have studied in the Madhya-lila first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. The first verse itself. What is that? Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya. No, that is second verse. Right. Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Ishan Ishavatarakan Tat Prakashamstat Tat Shaktihi Krishna Chaitanya Samyakam. So, when you say Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that means all his paraphernalia together. So, Krishna means Krishna, his name, his form, his qualities, his pastimes, his entourage, his paraphernalia, everything is included in that. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. What does that mean? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is that when we worship Krishna, we also worship the Vrindavan Dham as equal to him. And Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastras, the Guru is to be worshipped as good as him. Because all are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's limbs. Gurun, Isha Bhaktan, the devotees. Isham, Ishavatarakan, of course, these are all the Lord and the Lord's expansions and his, further expansions and his energies, everything. In fact, everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So, holding on to Krishna tightly means not giving chance to forget Krishna. When we are disturbed, when we are Hridaya Daurbalyam, then Maya seems very attractive. We get attracted to things which are not actually necessary, anarthas. This happens when we commit offenses, when we commit offenses, basically. We will see that Maya becomes very attractive. Prabhu always used to quote this verse. What is that? I think 11:8:8. Yo siddhiranyabharanambaradi dravyeshu maya rachiteshu mudha pralobhitatma hyupabhoga buddhya patangavannashyati nashta drishtihi. A foolish man with no discrimination is immediately aroused at the sight of a woman beautifully decorated with golden ornaments, fine clothing, and other accoutrements. Being eager for sense gratification, such a fool loses all intelligence and is destroyed just like a moth rushing into a blazing fire. So, a foolish man with no discrimination is immediately aroused. Now, Prabhu always shows this, that when we let's go to the previous verses also. This is also very, you see, when we commit offenses, then we will lose control of our senses. When you're riding a chariot, when you're conducting the horses, and then if you lose the power, lose the control of the horses, and the horses will just go everywhere, and then we will lose complete control of the chariot. Same thing while driving as well. When we're driving and then we are not attentive, immediately gone. दृष्ट्वा स्त्रियं देवमायां तद्भावैरजितेन्द्रियः प्रलोभितः पतत्यन्धे तमस्यग्नौ पतंगवत्. You see, one who has failed to control his senses. And who will have failed to control his senses? The person especially who offends devotees. Of course, everybody else is also not able to control their senses, but even a devotee, when one comes to devotional service, one will be able to control the senses. But if we offend, then we will lose control of our senses. Just like Saubhari Muni, who offended Garuda, a great devotee of Vishnu. And what happened? Lost control, married 50 queens, 50. He was a yogi. 50 queens he married. To that level, he lost the level, his control over his senses. So here, one who has failed to control his senses immediately feels attraction upon seeing a woman's form, which is created by the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. Indeed, when the woman speaks with enticing words, smiles coquettishly, and moves her body sensuously, his mind is immediately captured, and thus he falls blindly into the darkness of material existence, just as the moth, maddened by the fire, rushes blindly into its flames. Heavy words, but this is exactly how Maya works. And this is a sign of Hridaya Daurbalyam. Daurbalyam. When we do not have strength, Maya will appear. Immediately we will be attracted to Maya. So we have to. That's why Prabhupada said, if one doesn't taste the nectar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna's pastimes, we will fall down. We'll eat, sleep, and fall down. That's what will happen. Very important that we read Krishna's. And what are Prabhupada's purports? Same thing, Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha. He is giving us through his, from the lips of the pure devotee, from the lips means from his pen, anything. There's no difference between a devotee's pen and a devotee's lips, because they write always glorify Krishna. So that is Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha. So that is the Teen Mahabal, the strongest substance is the instructions of the pure devotee. After having assimilated and tasted the nectar of Krishna, he gives it to us. And therefore, anushravanam, Shrutasya pumsam suchirashramasya nanmanjasa suribhiridhitorthah tat gunanushravanam mukunda padaravindam hridayeshu yesham. Anushravanam. What is anushravanam? Thinking. Hearing. Anushravanam means hearing after the great authorities. Anukirtanam is also there. We will go there. Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead who awards his devotees liberation. Anukirtanam. And Prabhupada many times Anukirtanam. Yeah. Etannirvidyamananam ichhatamakuto bhayam yoginam nirpanirnitam harer namanukirtanam. Anu, after someone, always chanting. Anu means also always. So, especially after the great authorities, that means following in their footsteps, how they have done it, what they have done. That's why we sing Vaishnava bhajans, Vaishnava songs. Because they have written and this is called Anukirtanam. Singing after them, singing what they have written. O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. 2.1.11 Srimad Bhagavatam. Anu. So, of course, the Anukirtanam is there. Prabhupada many times in the lecture, he always explained what is Anukirtanam. So, all this is the meaning of the remnants of food that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying. Tar uchishta charvan. Tar agnya karo tar uchishta charvan. Chewing the remnants. So let's read the translation again. Actually, the authorized compiler of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srila Vrindavan Das, the incarnation of Vyasadeva. Only upon his orders am I trying to chew the remnants of food that he has left. ভক্তি করে শিরে ধরে তাহার চরণ Shesha-lilar sutra gana kariye varnan. Placing his lotus feet upon my head in great devotion, I shall now describe in summary the Lord's final pastimes. Again, he's saying summary. Sutragana, synopsis. 24 वत्सर प्रभुर गृहे अवस्थान 24 वत्सर प्रभुर गृहे अवस्थान ताहा जे करेला लीला आदि लीला नाम. For 24 years, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at home, and whatever pastimes he performed during that time are called the Adilila. 24 वत्सर शेषे जय माघ मास तार शुक्ल पक्ष प्रभु कोरिला संन्यास. At the end of his 24th year, in the month of Magha, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, the Lord accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas. संन्यास करिया 24 वत्सर अवस्थान ताहा जय लीला तार शेष लीला नाम. After accepting sannyas, Lord Chaitanya remained within this material world for another 24 years. Within this period, whatever pastimes he enacted are called the Shesha Lila, or pastimes occurring at the end. Shesha Lilar Madhya Antya Dui Nama Hoy Lila Bhede Vaishnava Shabad Nama Bheda Koy. The final pastimes of the Lord occurring in his last 24 years are called Madhya, middle, and Antya, final. All the devotees of the Lord refer to his pastimes according to these divisions. तार मध्ये 6 वत्सर गमनागमन नीलाचल गौड़ सेतु बंध वृंदावन. For 6 years of the last 24, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travelled all over India, from Jagannath Puri to Bengal and from Cape Comorin, that means Kanyakumari, to Vrindavan. Taha jay lila tar madhya-lila naam tar pache lila antya-lila abhidhan. All the pastimes performed by the Lord in those places are known as the Madhya-lila, and whatever pastimes were performed after that are called the Antya-lila. So the first 6 years of his sannyas, of course he started living at Jagannath Puri, but immediately, very soon, he went to South India, and also Vrindavan he went. This is all in the first 6 years of his sannyas, and after that it's all called Antya-lila. So those 6 years are called Madhya-lila. Adi-lila, Madhya-lila, Antya-lila are Ebe Madhya-lilar kichu koriye vistar. The pastimes of the Lord are therefore divided into 3 periods, the Adi-lila, Madhya-lila, and Antya-lila. Now I shall very elaborately describe the Madhya-lila. Ashtadasha varsha keval नीलाचल स्थिति आपनी आचरि जीवे शिखायला bhakti. For 18 continuous years, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at Jagannath Puri and, through his personal behavior, instructed all living entities in the mode of devotional service. तार मध्ये 6 वत्सर भक्त गण संगे प्रेम भक्ति प्रवर्तायला नृत्य गीत रंगे. Of these 18 years at Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spent 6 years with his many devotees. By chanting and dancing, he introduced the loving service of the Lord. Nityananda Gosai re pathailo gauda deshe teho gauda desha bhasailo prema rase. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent Nityananda Prabhu from Jagannath Puri to Bengal, which is known as Gauda Desh, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu overflooded that country with the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Sahajay Nityananda Krishna Premoddama Prabhu Ajnay Koilo Jaha Taha Premadana. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is by nature very much inspired in rendering transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. Now, being ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he distributed this loving service anywhere and everywhere. Tahara charane mora koti namaskar Chaitanya ra bhakti jai ho lao yaila sansar. I offer innumerable obeisances under the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who is so kind that he spread the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. Chaitanya Gosai Jare Bole Bado Bhai Teho Kohe Mor Prabhu Chaitanya Gosai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to address Nityananda Prabhu as his elder brother, whereas Nityananda Prabhu addressed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his Lord. यद्यपि आपने होए प्रभु बलराम तथापि चैतन्य करे दास अभिमान. Although Nityananda Prabhu is none other than Balram himself, he nonetheless always thinks of himself as the eternal servant of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Seva Chaitanya Gao Lao Chaitanya Naam Chaitanya Jai Bhakti Kore Shay Mor Pran. Nityananda Prabhu requested everyone to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chant his glories and utter his name. Nityananda Prabhu claimed that person to be his life and soul who rendered devotional service unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ei mato loke Chaitanya Bhakti Laoyaila Dinahina Nindaka Shabare Nistarila. In this way, Sri Nityananda Prabhu introduced the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to everyone without discrimination. Even though the people were fallen souls and blasphemers, they were delivered by this process. तबे प्रभु ब्रजे पाठायला रूप सनातन प्रभु आज्ञाएं दुई भाई आयला वृंदावन. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sent the two brothers Sri Rupa Goswami and Sri Sanatana Goswami to Vraja. By his order, they went to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Bhakti Prachariya Sarva Tirtha Prakashila Madan Gopal Govindera Seva Pracharila. Madan Gopal Govindera Seva Pracharila. So, Sarvatirtha Prakashila, Muslims, the Mughal invasion, they have destroyed many sites of temples and deities in India, North India especially. And even after the Goswamis, you can see the Rupa Goswami's Govindadev temple and Sanatana Goswami's temple. All the deities, the original deities are in Rajasthan, where at that time there were Rajput kings, and so they will be safe. The deities will be not, attacked by these Mughals. So the deities were taken there, and now there are temples for those deities. So Sarvatirtha Prakashila, Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, in fact, not only because of Mughal invasion, but also because of the passage of time, all the places of Krishna's pastimes were covered. Nobody knew where they were. In fact, you can see later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will go to one place, not later on, I mean, many chapters maybe later. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will go to one place in Vrindavan when he was in Vrindavan. Then he will just dug up a paddy field and said, "This is Radha Kund." Who would have known? Nobody would have known. So like that, he also manifested all those pastime places, Tirthasthan, and he also ordered Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis to do the same. After going to Vrindavan, the brothers preached devotional service and discovered many places of pilgrimage. They specifically initiated the service of Madan Mohan and Govindaji. Madan Mohan deities are Sanatana Goswami's deities, and Govindaji is Rupa Goswami's deities. Nana Shastra Ani Koila Bhakti Grantha Sar Mudha Adham Jane Rete Ho Korela Nistar. Both Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami brought various scriptures to Vrindavan and collected the essence of these by compiling many scriptures on devotional service. In this way, they delivered all rascals and fallen souls. We owe a great deal to these Goswamis. Their books, are being handed down in the Sampradaya. We are reading Nectar of Devotion every day in the morning. And there is Nectar of Instruction. I hope devotees also read that. It's a very important book by Rupa Goswami. And Hari Bhakti Vilas was written by Sanatana Goswami. Very, very important book. And of course, it's not translated by Prabhupada, but many verses are quoted in the purports of Srila Prabhupada. And Jiva Goswami wrote the Shat very important books. All the Goswamis wrote many, many important books for the propagation of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunao Sadharma Samsthapako Bhutva Dina Ganesha. No, that is different. Mixing up two verses. But anyway, Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunao Sadharma Samsthapako. What is Sadharma? These words Sadguru, Sadharma, all these are what is the actual dharma? What is Asad Dharma? What is Sad Dharma? Now people are trying to just unify the whole Sanatan Dharma. As they say, we should all be Sanatanis. It was never like that. It was never like that. If you see the history, there is Vaishnavas, there are Shaivites, there are Shaktas, there are all kinds of Tantrics. There are all kinds of people. You cannot lump them all together and say this is now Sanatan Dharma. We should all be united. It will never be. One has to unite. We have to understand what is actually Sad Dharma. What is the real Dharma? The real Dharma is Krishna consciousness. To be always conscious of Krishna. You see, Prabhupada could have always said that International Society for Sanatan Dharma. But he did not do it because Sanatan Dharma is fraught with so many misconceptions. So, what is the essence of the entire Sanatan Dharma is Krishna consciousness. Always to be conscious of Krishna. Smartavyah satatam Vishnur. Vismartavyo najatuch. Always be conscious of Vishnu or Krishna and never forget him. That is the essence. Sarva Veda, Sarva Vidhi Nishedhasya etayoreva kinkaraha. All the other do's and don'ts in the Vedas are the servants of these two principles. One do and one don't. Always remember Krishna, never forget him. So therefore, to always remember Krishna, to always be conscious of Krishna is Krishna consciousness. So that's the paramount definition of Sadharma. The epitome, the pinnacle definition of Sadharma is Krishna consciousness. And Krishna declares that in the Bhagavad Gita. If anybody, Hindus, they say, oh, Bhagavad Gita is our book. Okay, read Bhagavad Gita. What Krishna is saying? Sarva dharman parityajya. When he said Sarva dharman parityajya, he never referred to Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim. No. Everything included. Give up every form of religion and surrender unto me. Why did he say give up then? If surrendering to him is actually religion, why did he say Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja? Because over time religion has been muddled with so many conceptions, materialistic conceptions. This is called Kaitava dharma, cheating religion. That means religion which is materially motivated. Today, Hindutvavadis in India, they are pushing the Hindu cause, but many of them just do lip service and use it for political statements, to make political statements. Like recently there is a temple in Abu Dhabi, okay, big temple under the auspices of the Indian government. There is now a construction of a Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. It is used as a political muscle. We are extending our our culture everywhere. We are making our presence felt. We're standing for what our culture is. Nothing to understand actually what our real. See, temples are not to be used for making a political statement. To be very honest, Ram Janmabhoomi, right? Now the temple came back at the Ram Janmabhoomi, which is very good, absolutely. But at the same time, the full essence of Ram Bhakti, has to be disseminated from that place. It will become a tourist location. People will go there as a Tirthasthan, which is good. But what is happening to the teaching? That is the real essence of all these temples. People are only going for darshan, darshan, darshan. What about the Shravan? Because we can only see Krishna through the ears, not through the eyes. Shrutekshita. The Lord is called Shrutekshita. He is seen by the ears, by the process of bona fide hearing. What is bona fide hearing? What is anushravanam? Hearing from the proper acharyas, sampradaya of Vaishnava acharyas, stemming directly from Krishna. So if that is not reinstated, just building a temple will not do anything. It will be just a cultural muscle, huh? Showing off some muscles like that only. Oh, we have done it. Done what? Done what? Where is the teachings of Krishna consciousness or Ram consciousness going on? Yes, there will be some fervor. Yes, people will be excited. But then, what is the sustaining program for one's daily devotion? And not just the sadhana, which is like a side dish of life. No, 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 no. It has to become the mainstream activity of human life. We are not satisfied with this. Oh, little bit of Hindutva that came back. Okay, that's good. No, no, no. It's not. The Hindus are vastly still asleep. They've not woken up still. They're simply still groggy, slowly waking up. But even that waking up has nothing to do with the actual sadharma, transcendental movement of devotional service. That they still don't have clue. They see it like a pious thing, but they're very much interested in materialistic life. That's how people are. So sadharma, samsthapako. So from all the Vedas, Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis and even Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das, all the six Goswamis, they collected all the essence of evidence and then presented Sadharma Samsthapako. So Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So give up all the multitude instructions of dharma, even within Sanatana Dharma. Okay, Krishna's time, 5,000 years back, there was no Christianity, no Islam, no Buddhism, no nothing. It was all mostly Sanatana Dharma. But still Krishna says Sarvadharman Parityajya. What does he mean by that? Now people Hindus accuse us. Oh, you Vaishnavas, you are talking like Abrahamic religions. Oh, you are saying only Krishna, Krishna. Well, Krishna himself said, way before Abrahamic religions came into existence. He already said, Sarvadharman Parityajya. What is the Sarvadharma then? What is the Sarvadharma? That Sarvadharma means all these Kaitav Dharma, materially motivated religion. Give up. And Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Ekam. Surrender to me alone, not to anybody else. Not me and some demigod, Devata, no. Me alone. This is the instruction of Bhagavad Gita. This is Sadharma. We'll make a whole video on this. That what is actually the essence of Sanatana Dharma. So anyway, both Rupa and Sanatana Goswami brought various scriptures to Vrindavan and collected the essence of these by compiling many scriptures on devotional service. In this way, they delivered all rascals and fallen souls. Now, another thing about this is books will have the longest lifespan. We may think that videos will have the longest lifespan, and we can know easily from a video than a book. But books, nothing will last longer than books. Of course, through oral tradition it was going on, but in Kali Yuga especially, that oral transmission is very much, um, you know, not effective because of our ineffectiveness to properly understand and assimilate and transmit because of our poor memories. But the replacement for that is the books. Because books, you see, 500 years ago, Goswamis wrote, still today we have. Vyasadeva wrote 5,000 years ago, still we have. And it is being studied. So it will last very, very long. And it is just text. You can make movies out of it, you can make videos out of it, you can make so much, according to the Adhunik Dharai, Adhunik, modern uh, tools of communication you can use to, but the base will be the books. That's why Prabhupada said books are the basis of our movement. In this way, they deliver all rascals and falls, and they're still delivering. Purport, Srila Srinivas Acharya has sung, yeah, here it is. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunao Sadharma Samsthapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyao Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. The six Goswamis, under the direction of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami, studied various Vedic literatures and picked up the essence of them, the devotional service of the Lord. This means that all the Goswamis wrote many scriptures on devotional service with the support of the Vedic literature. Devotional service is not a sentimental activity. The essence of Vedic knowledge is devotional service, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Vedaishcha sarvair ahameva vedyaha. All the Vedic literature aims at understanding Krishna, and how to understand Krishna through devotional service has been explained by Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana Goswamis with evidence from all Vedic literatures. They have put it so nicely that even a rascal or first class fool can be delivered by devotional service under the guidance of the Goswamis. Even that we would not have understood if it was not for Srila Prabhupada to have given us rascals and fools his purports. Right or not? प्रभु आज्ञाय कइल सब शास्त्रेर विचार व्रजेर निगूढ़ भक्ति करिल प्रचार. The Goswamis carried out the preaching work of devotional service on the basis of an analytical study of all confidential Vedic literatures. This was in compliance with the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, one can understand the most confidential devotional service of Vrindavan. Purport. This proves that bona fide devotional service is based on the conclusions of the Vedic literature. It is not based on the type of sentiment exhibited by the Prakrita Sahajiyas. The Prakrita Sahajiyas do not consult the Vedic literatures, and they are debauchees, woman hunters, and smokers of ganja. Sometimes they give a theatrical performance and cry for the Lord with tears in their eyes. Of course, all scriptural conclusions are washed off by these tears. That's in total roast. Of course, all scriptural conclusions are washed off by these tears. The Prakrita Sahajiyas do not realize that they are violating the orders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who specifically said that to understand Vrindavan and the pastimes of Vrindavan, one must have sufficient knowledge of the Shastras, Vedic literatures. So, as you can see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought about the chanting of the holy name, but he did not say that we don't need to read the scriptures. No. You see what he's saying? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who specifically said that to understand Vrindavan and the pastimes of Vrindavan, one must have sufficient knowledge of the Shastras. In fact, he ordered Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis on what to write in their books in very great elaboration, and you will see all those in the later chapters of Madhya-lila. Chapter 20, chapter 22, 21 and 23 as well. He describes many things very, very elaborately. 24th chapter as well. I think 25th chapter as well, I think. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.12, Bhaktya Shrutagrihitaya. This means that devotional service is acquired from Vedic knowledge. Tat Shraddhadhanah Munayah. Devotees who are actually serious attain bhakti, scientific devotional service, by hearing Vedic literatures. Bhaktya Shrutagrihitaya. It is not that one should create something out of sentimentality, become a Sahajiya and advocate such concocted devotional service. However, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur considered such Sahajiyas to be more favorable than the impersonalists who are hopelessly atheistic. The impersonalists have no idea of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The position of the Sahajiyas is far better than that of the Mayavadi sannyasis. Although the Sahajiyas do not think much of Vedic knowledge, they nonetheless have accepted Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Unfortunately, they mislead others from authentic devotional service. So there is gradation of non-devotees as well, and Sahajiyas come very close to devotees, but still very far because they mislead people. So that is also bad. Hari Bhakti Vilas Ar Bhagavatamrita Dashama Tippani Ar Dashama Charita. These are some of the books. You see, some of the books compiled by Srila Sanatana Goswami were the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Dashama Tippani, and Dashama Charita. Purport. In the first wave of the book known as the Bhakti Ratnakar, it is said that Sanatana Goswami understood Srimad Bhagavatam by thorough study and explained it in his commentary known as Vaishnava Toshani. So, if you remember, he was studying Bhagavatam when he was serving them as a minister to the Nawab Hussain Shah. And he was, especially in the later days, he said he was sick and he was staying at home. He was reciting Bhagavatam and studying and discussing Bhagavatam. So he actually wrote a commentary on it called Vaishnava Toshani. All the knowledge that Sri Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami directly acquired from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was broadcast all over the world by their expert service. Sanatana Goswami gave his Vaishnava Toshani commentary to Srila Jiva Goswami for editing. And Srila Jiva Goswami edited this under the name of Laghu Toshani. Whatever he immediately put down in writing was finished in the year 1476 Shakabda, which is 1554 AD. Srila Jiva Goswami completed the Laghu Toshani in the year Shakabda 1504, which is 1582 AD. The subject matter of the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sri Sanatana Goswami was collected by Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami and is known as a Vaishnava Smriti. This Vaishnava Smriti Grantha was finished in 20 chapters known as Vilasas. In the first Vilas, there is a description of how a relationship is established between the spiritual master and the disciple, and mantras are explained. In the second Vilas, the process of initiation is described. In the third Vilas, the methods of Vaishnava behavior are given. With emphasis on cleanliness, constant remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the chanting of the mantras given by the initiating spiritual master. In the fourth Vilas are descriptions of samskara, the reformatory method, tilak, the application of 12 tilaks on the 12 places of the body, mudra, marks on the body, mala, chanting with beads, and guru puja, worship of the spiritual master. In the fifth Vilas, one is instructed on how to make a place to sit for meditation, and there are descriptions of breathing exercises, meditation, and worship of the Shalagram Shila, representation of Lord Vishnu. In the sixth Vilas, the required practices for inviting the transcendental form of the Lord and bathing him are given. In the seventh Vilas, one is instructed on how to collect flowers used for the worship of Lord Vishnu. In the eighth Vilas, there is a description of the deity and the instructions on how to set up incense, light lamps, make offerings, dance, play music, beat drums, garland the deity, offer prayers and obeisances, and counteract offenses. In the ninth Vilas, there are descriptions about collecting tulsi leaves, offering oblations to forefathers according to Vaishnava rituals, and offering food. In the 10th Vilas, there are descriptions of the devotees of the Lord, Vaishnavas or saintly persons. In the 11th Vilas, there are elaborate descriptions of deity worship and the glories of the holy name of the Lord. One is instructed on how to chant the holy name of the deity, and there are discussions about offenses committed while chanting the holy name, along with methods for getting relief from such offenses. There are also descriptions of the glories of devotional service and the surrendering process. In the 12th Vilas, Ekadashi is described. In the 13th Vilas, fasting is discussed. as well as observance of the Mahadvadashi ceremony. In the 14th Vilas, different duties for different months are outlined. In the 15th Vilas, there are instructions on how to observe Ekadashi fasting without even drinking water. There are also descriptions of branding the body with the symbols of Vishnu, discussions of Chaturmasya observations during the rainy season, and discussions of Janmashtami, Parshvaikadashi, Shravanadvadashi, Ramanavami, and Vijayadashami. The 16th Vilas discusses duties to be observed in the month of Kartik, October November, or the Damodar month, or Urja, when the lamps are offered in the deity room or above the temple. There are also descriptions of the Govardhan Puja and Rathayatra. The 17th Vilas discusses preparations for deity worship, Mahamantra chanting, and the process of japa. In the 18th Vilas, the different forms of Sri Vishnu are described. The 19th Vilas discusses the establishment of the deity and the rituals observed in bathing the deity before installation. The 20th Vilas discusses the construction of temples, referring to those constructed by the great devotees. The details of the Haribhakti Vilas Grantha are given by Sri Kaviraj Goswami in the Madhya-lila, 24th chapter, 329 through 345th verses. The descriptions given in those verses by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami are actually a description of those portions compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the regulative principles of devotional service compiled by Gopal Bhatta Goswami do not strictly follow our Vaishnava principles. Actually, Gopal Bhatta Goswami collected only a summary of the elaborate descriptions of Vaishnava regulative principles from the Haribhakti Vilas. It is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami's opinion, however, that to follow the Haribhakti Vilas strictly is to actually follow the Vaishnava rituals in perfect order. He claims that the Smartha Samaj, which is strictly followed by caste Brahmanas, has influenced portions that Gopal Bhatta Goswami collected from the original Haribhakti Vilas. It is therefore very difficult to find out Vaishnava directions from the book of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. It is better to consult the commentary made by Sanatan Goswami himself for the Haribhakti Vilas under the name of Digdarshini Tika. Some say that the same commentary was compiled by Gopinath Puja Adhikari, who was engaged in the service of Sri Radharamanji and who happened to be one of the disciples of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Regarding the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there are two parts, both of which deal with the discharge of devotional service. So until now it was Haribhakti Vilas. So there is an elaborate description, and some of the things that are mentioned in Haribhakti Vilas that were later edited by Gopal Bhatta Goswami has some things that are influenced by Smartha Samaj, because most probably to be relevant to the society at the time. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that the original Sanatan Goswami's Haribhakti Vilas has the Vaishnava regulations, which were later added. I mean, some of the things were added by Gopal Bhatta Goswami, which are also taken from Smartha Vidhi. So, regarding the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there are two parts, both of which deal with the discharge of devotional service. The first part is an analytical study of devotional service, in which there is also a description of different planets, including the earth, the heavenly planets, Brahmaloka and Vaikuntha-loka. There are also descriptions of the devotees, including intimate devotees, most intimate devotees, and complete devotees. The second part describes the glories of the spiritual world known as Goloka Mahatmya Nirupan, as well as the process of renunciation of the material world. It also describes real knowledge, devotional service, the spiritual world, love of Godhead, attainment of life's destination, and the bliss of the world. In this way, there are 7 chapters in each part, 14 chapters in all. The Dashama Tippani is a commentary on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Another name for this commentary is Brihad Vaishnava Toshani Tika. In the Bhakti Ratnakar, it is said that the Dashama Tippani was finished in 1476 Shakabda, which is 1554 AD. এইসব গ্রন্থ কইল গোসাই সনাতন রূপ গোসাই কইল যত কে করু গণন. We have already given the names of 4 books compiled by Sanatana Goswami. Similarly, Srila Rupa Goswami has also compiled many books which no one can even count. प्रधान प्रधान किछु करिए गणन लक्ष्य ग्रंथे कइलो व्रज विलास वर्णन. I shall therefore enumerate the chief books compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in 100,000 verses. Wow. You know, to write it in verses, it is very difficult. I mean, usually you have to versify. Not only just whatever your realizations or your, this thing you're writing in prose, but also making it into poetry. Wow, 100,000 verses. रसामृत सिंधु आर विदग्ध माधव उज्ज्वल नीलमणि आर ललित माधव. The books compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami include the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vidagdha Madhava, Ujjwal Neelamani and Lalit Madhava. दान केली कौमुदी आर बहुस्तवावली अष्टादश लीला छंद आर पद्यावली गोविंद विरुदावली ताहार लक्षण मथुरा महात्म्य आर नाटक वर्णन. Srila Rupa Goswami also compiled the Danakeli Kaumudi, Stavavali, Leela Chanda, Padyavali, Govinda Virudavali, Mathura Mahatmya and Natak Varnan. लघु भागवतामृतादि के करुगणन सर्वत्र करिलो व्रज विलास वर्णन. Who can count the rest of the books headed by the Laghu Bhagavatamrita written by Srila Rupa Goswami? He has described the pastimes of Vrindavan in all of them. Purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has given a description of these books. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is a great book of instruction on how to develop devotional service to Lord Krishna and follow the transcendental process. It was finished in the year 1463 Shakabda, which is 1541 AD. This book is divided into 4 parts: Purva Vibhaga, Eastern Division; Dakshina Vibhaga, Southern Division; Paschima Vibhaga, Western Division; and Uttara Vibhaga, Northern Division. In the Purva Vibhaga, there is a description of the permanent development of devotional service, the general principles of devotional service, the execution of devotional service, ecstasy in devotional service, and ultimately the attainment of love of Godhead are described. In this way, there are 4 laharis, waves in this division of the ocean of the nectar of devotion. In the Dakshina Vibhaga, Southern Division, there is a general description of the mellow relationship called Bhakti Rasa, which is derived from devotional service. There are also descriptions of the stages known as Vibhava, Anubhava, Sattvika, Vyabhichari, and Sthayi Bhava, all on this high platform of devotional service. Thus, there are 5 waves in the Dakshina Vibhaga division. In the Western division, Paschima Vibhaga, there is a description of the chief transcendental humors derived from devotional service. These are known as Mukhya Bhakti Rasa Nirupana, or attainment of the chief humors or feelings in the execution of devotional service. In that part, there is a description of devotional service in neutrality, further development in love and affection called servitude, further development in fraternity, further development in parenthood or parental love, and finally conjugal love between Krishna and his devotees. Thus, there are 5 waves in the Western division. In the Northern division, Uttar Vibhaga, there is a description of the indirect mellows of devotional service, namely devotional service in laughter, devotional service in wonder, and devotional service in chivalry, pity, anger, dread, and ghastliness. There are also mixing of mellows in the transgression of different humors. Thus, there are 9 waves in this part. This is but a brief outline of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The Vidagdha Madhava is a drama of Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Srila Rupa Goswami finished this book in the year 1454 Shakabda, which is 1532 AD. This is within the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, still in this world. 1534 is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left. The first part of this drama is called Venunada Vilas. The second part, Manmatha Lekha. The third part, Radha Sangha. The fourth part, Venuharana. The fifth part, Radha Prasadana. And the sixth part, Sharad Vihar. And the seventh and the last part, Gauri Vihar. So, although this is written in drama form, these are not some fictional dramas, like Shakespeare or somebody. Shakespeare got so much recognition, but he's nothing in front of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami is also medieval, around the time, I think. I don't know the exact time period of Shakespeare. So, um, this Rupa Goswami, whatever the drama, seemingly drama or fictional things, actually they're not fictional. In fact, Brihad Bhagavatamrita also describes the journey of Gopakumar. And his Gopakumar is never found in any of the scriptures. Yet, it is not a fictional creation. It is said that some acharyas have commented that this Gopakumar incident, his falling into the material world and his journey back to the spiritual world, is actually Purva Kalpa description, which has happened somewhere in the previous, and which is shown to Sanatana Goswami through transcendental vision, which he has described. Because devotees don't write fictional books. Acharyas, I'm talking about. There is also a book. In fact, okay, another thing about this Laghu, no, this is what? Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. The drama writing is, there are very, very elaborate rules for writing dramatic narration, dramatic descriptions or books. So he followed all the rules of that. He adhered to so many rules. And even in verses, composing of verses, there are rules of composition, the different meters, chandas. So he followed all that. Then reading further, there is also a book called Ujjwala Neelamani. This is a very, very fat book. I have a copy here. For reference. I don't plan to read it anytime soon. First finish one more round of Prabhupada's books and But Ujjwal Neelamani, very fat book, like this fat. A transcendental account of loving affairs that includes metaphor, analogy, and higher bhakti sentiments. So this is very actually higher bhakti sentiments. Devotional service and conjugal love is described briefly in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but it is very elaborately discussed in the Ujjwal Neelamani. So this is not for everybody. This book describes different types of lovers, their assistants, and those who are very dear to Krishna. There is also a description of Srimati Radharani and other female lovers, as well as various group leaders. Messengers and the constant associates, as well as others who are very dear to Krishna, are all described. The book also relates how love of Krishna is awakened and describes the ecstatic situation, the devotional situation, permanent ecstasy, disturbed ecstasy, steady ecstasy, different positions of different dresses, feelings of separation, prior attraction, anger in attraction, varieties of loving affairs, separation from the beloved, meeting with the beloved, and both direct and indirect enjoyment between the lover and the beloved. All this has been very elaborately described. If you remember, just a few sessions ago of Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have gone through the Bhramara Gita, Radharani talking to the bumblebee. And we have seen the Chitra, what is that? Chitra Jalpa, the 10 kinds of Chitra Jalpa, or like Prajalpa, Parijalpa, Sanjalpa, Vijalpa, whatever, I don't know. I'm making it up. 10th canto 47 chapter, I think 12 through 21. So, in the purports, you will see all the descriptions of different ways that Radharani expresses her ecstasy towards Krishna and her anger in devotional service in her bhakti. And Chitra Jalpa is mentioned. Those descriptions are by Rupa Goswami, those verses, and that is from Ujjwal Neelamani. So it's a very elevated book. And you just imagine, Rupa Goswami is so expert that he knows every single nuance of all these things. It's not that he's just like guessing or something. He is very, very, very experienced. He's one of the Manjaris in Golok Vrindavan. So he knows very, very intricately all these things, and he has described in all great detail. Similarly, the Lalita Madhava is a description of Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka. These pastimes were made into a drama, and the work was finished in the year 1459 Shakabda. The first part deals with festivities in the evening, the second with the killing of the Shankachuda, the third with maddened Srimati Radharani, the fourth with Radharani's proceeding toward Krishna, the fifth with the achievement of Chandravali, the sixth with the achievement of Lalita, the seventh with the meeting in Navavrindavan, the eighth with the enjoyment in Navavrindavan, the ninth with looking over pictures, and the 10th with the complete satisfaction of the mind. Thus, the entire drama is divided into 10 parts. So, I do not know if you know this incident where when Krishna was in Dwarka, he was looking at his floor. And at one time, he looked at his floor and the floor gave off reflection of his face. When you have black marble, black granite stone or something, and it's nicely polished, you can see your own face there very clearly. So he saw his own face and he wanted to enjoy with that person's face. I mean, with that person whose face that was Krishna himself. And that is when he ignited the desire to taste the beauty that Radharani, or the happiness that Radharani tastes. And that was the beginning of his desire to come back as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that incident is nowhere to be found in the Bhagavatam. It is to be found in Lalita Madhava by Rupa Goswami. So you may say, oh, that is concoction then. No, it is not. See, we always understand. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote this in one article that sometimes certain pastimes and certain verses which are already there, those descriptions are already there, but they are revealed to pure devotees and pure devotees write them. They are not to be considered fiction. Krishna wants to give the credit to such devotees for having written or revealed those pastimes to the world. Because even though Vyasadeva wrote all the Vedas and everything, pure devotees who are realized, they sometimes reveal things which are not even found in the Vedas, like Brihad Bhagavatamrita or Lalita Madhava, Vidagdha Madhava, and Tanakeli Kaumudi, and what is that? Ujjwal Neelamani, all these verses, these descriptions, and even Raghunath Das Goswami wrote, what is that? Some of the pastimes of Vrindavan he also wrote, which are not found anywhere else. There is also portrayed in the Little Krishna series, one of the pastimes where what is that pastime? Where he's the plants. I forget the whole pastime, but that is actually taken from Raghunath Das Goswami's description. It is not by. And even, we know in Bhagavatam there is a description of Brahma seeing Krishna and then seeing all other Brahmas. But there's another time where all other Brahmas came, and that's when it's during Vrindavan. The what is the pastime? Where Brahma stole all the cowherd boys. Brahma Vimohan Leela. Yeah. So that there also Brahma saw all the other Brahmas from other universes. So 2 times. But that Vrindavan one is not there in anywhere but Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. You cannot find that in Bhagavatam. So there are many details. Even now, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, I am only summarizing these. Nobody can actually really describe the entire extent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. He was only here 48 years, but even then, he says even Anantasesh cannot finish the pastimes that he has done. I'm only going to give a summary, he's saying, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So there are so many details that are left out. And then what happens to those details? So Krishna empowers certain devotees to reveal those details in due course of time. So anyway, reading on, the Laghu Bhagavatamrita is divided into two parts. The first is called the nectar of Krishna, and the second, the nectar of devotional service. The importance of Vedic evidence is stressed in the first part, and this is followed by a description of the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Sri Krishna, and descriptions of his pastimes and expansions in Swamsha, personal forms, and Vibhinnamsha. According to different absorptions, the incarnations are called Avesha and Tadekatma. The first incarnation is divided into three Purusha avatars, namely Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. There are the three incarnations of the modes of nature, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, Shiva. All the paraphernalia used in the service of the Lord is transcendental, beyond the three qualities of this material world. That is called Turiya Guna Sampannam, Nana Guna Manoharam. So Turiya Guna Sampannam means having the fourth mode. I'm imbued with the fourth mode, above even the three modes. Turiya means fourth. That is a transcendental situation which is called Shuddha Sattva Guna. There is also a description of 25 Leela avatars, namely Chatursana, the Kumaras, Narada, Varaha, Matsya, Yajna, Naranarayan Rishi, Kapila, Dattatreya, Hayagriva, Hamsa, Prishnigarbha, Rishabha, Prithu, Narsimha, Kurma, Dhanvantari, Mohini, Vamana, Parashurama, Dasharathi, Krishnadvaipayana, Vyasadeva, that means, Balaram, Vasudeva, Buddha, and Kalki. There are also 14 Manvantara incarnations: Yajna, Vibhu, Satyasena, Hari, Vaikuntha, Ajita, Vamana, Sarvabhauma, Rishabha, Vishwaksena, Dharmasetu, Sudhama, Yogeshwara, and Brihadbhanu. There are also 4 incarnations for the 4 yugas, and their colors are described as white, red, blackish, and black, sometimes yellow, as in the case of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are different types of millenniums and incarnations for those millenniums. The categories called Avesha, Prabhava, Vaibhava, and Para constitute different situations for the different incarnations. According to specific pastimes, the names are spiritually empowered. There are also descriptions of the difference between the powerful and the power, and the inconceivable activities of the Supreme Lord. Sri Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and no one is greater than him. He is the source of all incarnations. In the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, there are descriptions of his partial incarnations, a description of the impersonal Brahman effulgence, actually the bodily effulgence of Sri Krishna, the super excellence of Sri Krishna's pastimes as an ordinary human being with 2 hands and so forth. There is nothing to compare with the 2-armed form of the Lord. In the spiritual world, Vaikuntha Jagat, there is no distinction between the owner of the body and the body itself. In the material world, the owner of the body is called the soul, and the body is called a material manifestation. In the Vaikuntha world, however, there is no such distinction. Lord Sri Krishna is unborn, and his appearance as an incarnation is perpetual. His incarnation is perpetual, his appearance. Krishna's pastimes are divided into 2 parts, manifest and unmanifest. For example, when Krishna takes his birth within this material world, his pastimes are considered to be manifest. However, when he disappears, one should not think that he is finished, for his pastimes are going on in an unmanifest form. Varieties of humors, however, are enjoyed by the devotees in Lord Krishna during his manifest pastimes. After all, his pastimes in Mathura, Vrindavan, and Dwaraka are eternal and are going on perpetually in some universes. So these are the great truths of Krishna's pastimes and how Rupa Goswami elaborates on all these topics. तार भ्रातुष पुत्र नाम श्री जीव गोसाय Jat bhakti grantha koilo tar antanai. Sri Rupa Goswami's nephew, Srila Jiva Goswami, has compiled so many books on devotional service that there is no counting them. Shri Bhagavat Sandarbha Nama Grantha Vistar Bhakti Siddhante Ratate Dekhaya Chenapar. In Sri Bhagavat Sandarbha, actually, that is actually the Shat Sandarbha. One of them is Bhagavat Sandarbha, but actually the whole work is also called Bhagavat Sandarbha. So, in Sri Bhagavat Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami has written conclusively about the ultimate end of devotional service. Purport: the Bhagavad Sandarbha is also known as the Shat Sandarbha. In the first part, called Tattva Sandarbha, it is proved that Srimad Bhagavatam is the most authoritative evidence directly pointing to the absolute truth. The second Sandarbha, called Bhagavat Sandarbha, draws a distinction between impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma and describes the spiritual world and the domination of the mode of goodness devoid of contamination by the other two material modes. In other words, there is a vivid description of the transcendental position known as Shuddha Sattva. Material goodness is apt to be contaminated by the other two material qualities, ignorance and passion. But when one is situated in the Shuddha Sattva position, there is no chance for such contamination. It is a spiritual platform of pure goodness. The potency of the Supreme Lord and the living entity, the potency of the Supreme Lord and the living entity is also described, and there is a description of the inconceivable energies and varieties of energies of the Lord. The potencies are divided into categories: internal, external, personal, marginal, and so forth. There are also discussions of the eternality of deity worship, the omnipotence of the deity, his all-pervasiveness, his giving shelter to everyone, his subtle and gross potencies, his personal manifestations, his expressions of form, quality, and pastimes, his transcendental position, and his complete form. It is also stated that everything pertaining to the Absolute has the same potency and that the spiritual world, the associates in the spiritual world, and the threefold energies of the Lord in the spiritual world are all transcendental. This is very important. Everything pertaining to the Absolute has the same potency. So Krishna and his paraphernalia in the temple, and when it is used for Krishna, it has the same potency as Krishna. There are further discussions concerning the difference between the impersonal Brahman and the personality of Godhead, the fullness of the personality of Godhead, the objective of all Vedic knowledge, and the personal potencies of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead as the original author of Vedic knowledge. The third Sandarbha is called Paramatma Sandarbha, and in this book there is a description of Paramatma, the Supersoul, and an explanation of how the Supersoul exists in millions and millions of living entities. There are discussions of the differences between the qualitative incarnations and discourses concerning the living entities, Maya, the material world, the theory of transformation, the illusory energy, the sameness of this world and the Supersoul, and the truth about this material world. In this connection, the opinions of Sridhar Swami are given. It is stated that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although devoid of material qualities, superintends all material activities. There is also a discussion of how the Leela avatar incarnations respond to the desires of the devotees and how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is characterized by six opulences. The fourth Sandarbha is called Krishna Sandarbha, and in this book, Krishna is proved to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are discussions of Krishna's pastimes and qualities, his superintendence of the Purusha avatars, and so forth. The opinions of Sridhar Swami are corroborated. In each and every scripture, the supremacy of Krishna is stressed. Baladev, Sankarshan, and other expansions of Krishna are emanations of Mahasankarshan. All the incarnations and expansions exist simultaneously in the body of Krishna, who is described as two-handed. There are also descriptions of the Goloka planet, Vrindavan, the eternal place of Krishna, the identity of Goloka and Vrindavan, and the Yadavas and the cowherd boys, both eternal associates of Krishna, the equality of the manifest and unmanifest pastimes, Sri Krishna's manifestation in Gokula, the queens of Dwarka as expansions of the internal potency, and superior to them, the super excellent gopis. There is also a list of the gopis' names and a discussion of the topmost position of Srimati Radharani. The fifth Sandarbha is called Bhakti Sandarbha, and in this book there is a discussion of how devotional service can be directly executed and how such service can be adjusted either directly or indirectly. There is a discussion of the knowledge of all kinds of scripture, the establishment of the Vedic institution of Varnashram, bhakti as superior to fruitive activity, and so forth. It is also stated that without devotional service, even a Brahmana is condemned. There are discussions of the process of karma tyaga, the giving of the results of karma to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the practices of mystic yoga and philosophical speculation, which are deprecated as simply hard labor. Worship of the demigods is discouraged, and worship of a Vaishnava is considered exalted. No respect is given to the non devotees. There are discussions of how one can be liberated even in this life, Jivan Mukta, Lord Shiva as a devotee, and how a Bhakta and his devotional service are eternally existing. It is stated that through Bhakti one can attain all success because Bhakti is transcendental to the material qualities. There is a discussion of how the self is manifest through Bhakti. There is also a discussion of the self's bliss as well as how Bhakti, even imperfectly executed, enables one to attain the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unmotivated devotional service is highly praised, and an explanation is given of how each devotee can achieve the platform of unmotivated service by association with other devotees. There is a discussion of the differences between the Mahabhagavat and the ordinary devotee, the symptoms of philosophical speculation, the symptoms of self-worship or ahangrahopasana, the symptoms of devotional service, the symptoms of imaginary perfection, the acceptance of regulative principles, service to the spiritual master, the Mahabhagavat liberated devotee, and service to him, service to Vaishnavas in general, the principles of hearing, chanting, remembering, and serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offenses in worship, offensive effects, prayers, engaging oneself as an eternal servant of the Lord, making friendships with the Lord, and surrendering everything for his pleasure. There is also a discussion of Raganuga Bhakti, spontaneous love of Godhead, of the specific purpose of becoming a devotee of Krishna, and a comparative study of other perfectional stages. See how elaborate this all is. Wow. The sixth Sandarbha is called Preeti Sandarbha, a thesis on love of Godhead. Here it is stated that through love of Godhead one becomes perfectly liberated and attains the highest goal of life. A distinction is made between the liberated condition of a personalist and that of an impersonalist. And there is a discussion of liberation during one's lifetime as distinguished from liberation from material bondage. Liberation during one's lifetime as distinguished from liberation from material bondage. Of all kinds of liberation, liberation in loving service to the Lord is described as the most exalted, and meeting the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face is shown to be the highest perfection of life. Immediate liberation is contrasted with liberation by a gradual process. Both realization of Brahman and meeting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead are described as liberation within one's lifetime, but meeting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead both internally and externally is shown to be super excellent, above the transcendental realization of the Brahman effulgence. There is a comparative study of liberation as Salokya, Samipya, and Sarupya. Samipya is better than Salokya. Devotional service is considered to be liberation with greater facilities, and there is a discussion of how to obtain it. There are also discussions of the transcendental state one achieves after attaining the devotional platform, which is the exact position of love of Godhead, the marginal symptoms of transcendental love and how it is awakened, the distinction between so-called love and transcendental love on the platform of love of Godhead, and different types of humors and mellows enjoyed in relishing the lusty affairs of the gopis, which are different from mundane affairs, which in turn are symbolical representations of pure love for Krishna. There are also discussions of bhakti mixed with philosophical speculation, the super excellence of the love of the gopis, the difference between opulent devotional service and loving devotional service, the exalted position of the residents of Gokula, the progressively exalted position of the friends of Krishna, the Gopas and the Gopis in parental love with Krishna, and finally the super excellence of the love of the Gopis and that of Srimati Radharani. There is also discussion of how spiritual feelings can be present when one simply imitates them, and of how such mellows are far superior to the ordinary mellows of mundane love. And there are descriptions of different ecstasies, the awakening of ecstasy, transcendental qualities, the distinction of dhirodatta, the utmost attractiveness of conjugal love, the ecstatic features, the permanent ecstatic features, the mellows divided in five transcendental features of direct love, direct loving service, and indirect loving service, considered in seven divisions. Finally, there is a discussion of overlapping of different rasas, and there are discussions of Shanta, neutrality, servitorship, taking shelter, parental love, conjugal love, direct transcendental enjoyment, and enjoyment in separation, previous attraction, and the glories of Srimati Radharani. So, we will stop here. Of course, there are more there. More scriptures are being mentioned. We will stop it here for today. So, I'll take any questions that are there, and then we'll call it a day. Yashodhara is asking, recently an ISKCON devotee I met by chance gave me a book by Radhanath Swami. Can you please inform me about the offenses of Radhanath Swami so I can see things as they are? So this has nothing to do with the topic at hand. So um, if you want to know about the offenses of Radhanath Swami, then you can type Radhanath Swami. I mean, you will find his material in YouTube. So I don't want to be like pointing to that because I want to stay to the topic. And any questions related to the topic will be entertained. Is Krishna the only Hindu god you can pray to? Krishna is not a Hindu god, he is God. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. That is not Hindu. What do you mean Hindu god? You think there is a Muslim god, there is a Christian god, there is a Jain god, there is a Buddhist god? So many gods having competition up there? No. God is only one. And that's why you read the Bhagavad Gita, then you will understand. Krishna says, Sarvayonishu Kaunteya aham bija pradah pita. I am the father of all species of life. What to speak of Hindus, Muslims, Christians? Of all species of life, he is the father. Yeah, the pearls growing. Yeah, that is the pearl plants. Yeah, that pastime is from Raghunath Das Goswami. Is it okay to read all these exotic books? Srila Prabhupada never even spoke about so many esoteric concepts which these con people love to discuss. I went through all the six sandarbhas only to realize that majority of the subject matter is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes. So, first we read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada books itself we cannot finish in our entire lifetime. But yeah, Yashodhara is saying, I understand. Sorry for being off topic. Yeah, you go and find in the internet on YouTube. You can find so many videos on this. Okay, so I think that's it. So thank you very much for your participation. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Shad Goswami ki jai. Nitai, Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai, Gaur Premanand, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.